Hello and thank you for watching. Today I'm making nutrient-dense granola. I'll begin by soaking the nuts, seeds and oats, as these, along with other grains, contain anti-nutrients such as phytic acid, which locks in the nutrients and prevents absorption of many vitamins and minerals. When you soak these foods, it releases phytase, which works to break down these anti-nutrients. That is why sourdough breads are so good. Preparing foods as our ancestors did is a step forward towards health, especially as our soils are often depleted of precious minerals. The first step is to soak my seeds and nuts overnight in filtered water, adding about a teaspoon of salt per cup of nuts or seeds. I don't actually soak cashew nuts as they've already been heat treated to remove the toxicity. So little seeds like linseed, flaxseed and chia seed and sesame seed and seeds like that are really small and they get quite gelatinous. So I don't actually soak those, just the larger seeds. For this granola recipe, I soak 6 cups of rolled oats overnight. I use 2 cups of water and ½ a cup of whey. Whey from yogurt, kefir or cheese making can be used, but you can also use an acidic liquid such as lemon juice or apple cider vinegar. Now we're going to just strain the almonds. As you can see, when they've been soaked overnight, the skins come off fairly easily. You don't have to remove all the skins. You can. Some of them will come off while you're dehydrating them. I like to quickly give my seeds and nuts a quick towel dry before I dehydrate them, either in the oven or in the dehydrator. Now I've just taken the nuts and seeds out. You can see from these, they're just really nice and crispy dry. I press them and they've got no give in them. So those ones are ready to go into a container. And then what we do with those is we'll put the lid on, and I like to leave the vent open for a little bit, just for a short while to let out any heat. But anyway, we put them in a container, glass container, and what we need to do is then just leave them and just check on them, give them a bit of a shake over the next couple of days just to make sure that they are dry completely. So they're those ones. Now the almonds will take longer and these ones aren't ready. As you can see, they're a bit squishy. I can still press down on them. They're still a little bit soft, so they'll go back in the oven for a bit longer. Then we have the peanuts. They feel nice and crispy. As you can see, when you wrap the peanuts, the skins come off really easily. See? So we are going to put these in a container. And again, we're going to leave them in there and keep an eye on them over the next 3 days. Just to make sure they're dry properly. If they stick at all or anything, then they have to be put it back in the oven. So that's called conditioning, and we condition all our nuts and seeds for 3 days. Now, sometimes when I'm making my muesli or things that are going to be dried again, what I do tend to do is soak my seeds overnight, chop my nuts up finely and add my nuts and seeds to this mixture, because they will dry as the oats dry. However, I wanted some more containers full, so I dried them first, and also nuts and things I was about running out. So it's a very simple recipe. Some people call it muesli, some people call it granola. I'm not sure what the difference is. So just get rid of those nuts, put them in. I'm going to put the other nuts in at the end. Right, so all we're going to do is mix up a bit of oil and a bit of honey and cinnamon. So we need only about 1/4 cup of coconut oil, and I'm just going to put that on to melt, and I'll melt that down a bit before I add the honey, because I don't want the honey at high heat. I'm going to add some coconut. Now it depends how much you like coconut as to how much you add. So between 1/2 cup and 1 cup of coconut, and if you don't like coconut, leave it out. So just sprinkle that on. Now the coconut oil is all melted, I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup of honey. Now I'll just use a spoon to get it out because it's so much easier, and it only has to be approximate, so I'm going to just wing it. And it depends on the sweetness you prefer. You can add more if you wish. I'll put that back on the warm stove to melt down a bit. And we'll need 1/2 teaspoon, 1/2 tablespoon of cinnamon. So, yeah. And we'll just mix all that together. I like to get this nice Ceylon cinnamon. If you do your research, you'll find out the differences and the benefits. Okay. So this just all needs mixing in. And actually that honey's going to be fine. Now the original recipe did call for egg as well. The egg helps to bind it and make it clump more. I actually don't put the egg in. The other thing the original recipe calls for is flour, but I don't do that either. So it's very, very basic. And I just want to pour it gently over all the ingredients and then give it a good mix. Now, I do want it to keep its raw status, so I am going to bake it slowly. So that's all that there is to it. That will just go in that tray.
Oops, I've no idea how I recorded at such a high speed. Never mind. The next step to it is to add chopped nuts, seeds and dried fruit of your choice. It's a great way to use up fruit from last season's dehydrating projects. As with other dehydrated foods, it is best to condition the granola over a few days. This is simply done by shaking the jar every day. If anything sticks, then it will need more drying. This is an important process so that food doesn't mold. Thank you for watching and have an amazing day.